Yo, what's up, guys? I hope you're doing well. If you're new here, my name is Gio, and I teach you why the market moves the way that it does so that you can have confidence with your trades. Now, in my premium trading network called the Nexus, I live stream every morning, but more importantly, I do real-time market updates for these guys, letting them know what my positions are, when I'm entering, where I'm taking profit, etc. And I just posted a 22-minute long video, complete market update for the Nexus. Now, they were nice enough to allow me to release it to the public in the event that I got the engagement that I'm looking for. So in the Discord, I wrote at everyone towards the Nexus. You guys cool if I use this Nexus video update to engagement farm on X? I will make it available if I get 100 likes. I made it 100 likes or reposts. Now, if you're seeing this video on the public YouTube on the Trader Geo channel, then that means I have successfully engagement farmed your ass. So thank you very much for liking and reposting, however, which way we got to 100. If you like this kind of content, and only if you like it, only if I earn your like, make sure to hit the like button here. And if you love this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. And if you really love it, consider joining the Nexus, which is the link in the description down below. That's it for me. Check out the complete crypto market update and let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions along the way, put it in the comments below. I will be answering questions. And yeah, enjoy. All right, guys, update. Don't know how quick or how slow it'll be, but update. So earlier this morning on stream, we talked about how USDT dominance hit this key resistance, which was above this previous high. As you can see, we have that drawn out. And as you can see, we said if this box is broken, then we are going to make our way up to 4.95%. Now, that didn't happen. I also made my base case for why I didn't think it was going to happen because of the support that Bitcoin was at, because of where Ethereum and where, or sorry, not Ethereum. I said I didn't like Ethereum, but also because of where Solana and where Cardano both were. We talked about how we are going to take the structure from the high to the low and that we were just putting in lower highs and lower lows. We talked about how this block was an inducement block, and in the event that you break below that block, you're going to get sucked down to 454, which has now happened. Okay, now that has happened. So what is your structure? When in doubt, structure out. Okay, you have high, you have low, you have a lower high, you have lower low, you have lower high, you have lower low, and most importantly, we broke this box. So, in my opinion, we're bullish on the market. This morning, we speculated we were bullish in the market. In chat, I was asked, like in the Nexus chat channel, I was asked if I was looking to short Ethereum, and my answer was no. I was not looking to short Ethereum because I liked the way Cardano was looking. And, you know, we had mad chop city today, like super chop city. And this position didn't end up playing out on Bitcoin. And that's completely okay because we know that, you know, I mean, first of all, you have an SFP of that, which is great. But we also knew that you hit the high time frame supply zone, okay? And you actually had a flip zone here. So you hit the high time frame demand. You hit the high time frame demand. We knew that we didn't have to come back for it. We were mad choppy. I said on Bitcoin, I'm either going to look for this or I'm going to look for that. I'm not going to touch anything on Bitcoin. Now, that being said, let's talk about Cardano, because Cardano is the only trade that I'm in right now. If you guys saw in chat, I posted that I was long Bitcoin, that I was long Ethereum, and that I was long Cardano, and I got shaken out of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and Cardano I held on to. I'm up a good amount right now, and I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to post it. None of that, okay? But I know that Cardano, no different than some of these other altcoins. You guys know I've been saying I want to gig along the alts. It's almost time, blah, blah, blah. I know that Cardano is in a very strong support zone. We've been talking about this. We've been posting it. I've been saying play the game on Cardano. I let you guys know this morning that I was long on Cardano. We talked about this block here on Cardano. We talked about this position. We talked about this point of control. So on top of the fact that USDT dominance is bearish now, which is wonderful for our Cardano long, I want to go over what the overall plan for Cardano is. You guys know that I've been very, like, I don't want to say unrightfully so, but I've been paying very close attention to Cardano, as you guys know. And it's because I know that Cardano has juice. When it has gas, like, it goes, okay? And I just want to remind everybody what my overall plan for Cardano is. And it's this yellow structure. This is the reason why I've been focused so heavily on Cardano. Yes, I understand over the past couple weeks or so, we've had a few longs and some of them have paid out well. And if you've taken profit where you're supposed to take profit, for the most part, it should have served you well. Okay. However, this is the game. You know, sometimes it takes a few tries to potentially get the big one. And this could be the big one. And I understand that this could be a swing long. Okay. Now, for me, I'm going to judge Cardano solely based off of USDT dominance. Until USDT dominance starts hitting these lower levels, I have no reason to believe that Cardano is going to stop. And in fact, I'm bullish on the entire market right now. And we said that this morning. And I'm looking for this. To be honest, I think that we're going to come down to 4.55 in the next day or two, which means the whole market's going to pump. Or I think that we might even come down to 4.43. Now, depending on what happens at this box and this box will determine what I think is going to happen on the market. I got to analyze Bitcoin at the time. I got to check what alts are doing at the time. You know, I got to check Bitcoin dominance at the time, because if Bitcoin dominance, which we talked about this morning as well, look how we had the rejection. Check this out, guys. We hit a high time frame POI. Okay, then we had this huge buy to sell. We came back to retest it right now. We could be forming what seems to be maybe a forced looking 1, 2, 3, but at the very least, you can see that we have this going on. Okay, that if you start breaking below here, I don't see why Bitcoin dominance won't run for that, won't run for these lows, and won't run for that. Obviously, it's not liquidity, but you know, you would still treat it the same. So if you start closing below this level, this line that we're at right now, okay, I really don't see why we wouldn't make our way down to here, which is going to be ultimately good for the altcoins, okay? So pairing all that in mind, depending on where USDT is at the moment, depending on where the rest of the market is at the time USDT dominance comes down to 4.55 and potentially further, will determine what I'm going to ultimately do on Cardano. But I do think that Cardano, guys, like when I post these positions, okay, don't let, you know, the fact that this position was also like this up here and it didn't work out, don't let it fool you, okay? When we do our TA, keep in mind that the overall position, when we do our TA and we set it up, it's like this, right? Now, we're not entering huge positions like that. We're super scalping it in this zone, understanding that it could be this huge risk to reward. So realistically, and this is going to sound crazy, but you guys know what's up. The ones that have been around know what's up. Realistically, if my ultimate target is 86 cents on Cardano, this is a 28 risk to reward trade, which we had earlier today. Okay. Is that realistic? Well, you guys have seen me do it before. Okay. So don't let it fool you, right? That's why I've been paying so close attention to Cardano, because to me, Cardano is clear as day. This box either holds or it doesn't. It's as simple as that, right? And now USDT is showing us the answer, so that's good. So yeah, depending on what USDT or the rest of the market's looking at when USDT comes down to that low, depending on how Bitcoin dominance is looking, which right now is looking very good for the alt, it's looking very, very good. And depending on what Bitcoin is doing, we'll have to determine what we're going to do on Cardano. I took profit and I'm holding the rest, okay? Do I think that Bitcoin might put in a new all-time high from here? I think it's possible. I don't know if it's necessarily probable, but again, we're going to analyze it when USDT hits that low. For me, it's as clear as USDT dominance, and I'm not going to let anything kind of skew my brain and like chop me up on anything in between. For me, I have two very clear targets on Cardano right now, which is 77 cents, which are these, you know, if you just look at this liquidity curve right here, I think I'm targeting that, and I'm targeting up to 86 cents and potentially even beyond. We'll talk about 92 is a very strong level, between 92 and 94. And yes, I'm going to try to hold it as a swing trade, because if you guys remember, the Ethereum long was the same situation. I just think perhaps it might be Cardano's turn. So we'll have to wait and see, okay? Not marrying the idea, you know, make sure you take your profits. And if you get stopped out after TP1, like we've probably gotten stopped out. I mean, I've gotten stopped out on Cardano maybe like 6 times now after TPing. I might have taken 1 loss, maybe 2. I don't remember. It was over the past like couple weeks and things have just been mad choppy. But ultimately, this could result in a very strong okay? Not is. Don't FOMO in right now. We're going to find something. We'll talk about it. But this could end up being a very big swing long. This could be the beginning of some form of altcoin season. So we'll have to wait and see. I think for me, the best case scenario is for Bitcoin not to come to the all-time high and just hang around here. You know, don't go down. We don't want Bitcoin to go down, but we want Bitcoin to break this high, which it did. You know, perhaps come up to like take these highs, so maybe 109-ish, right? A few $1,000s away, or hang around here while dominance drops, Bitcoin dominance that is, and USDT dominance, and then alts have a real chance to move. Okay, that's my favorite scenario, so we'll have to wait and see. Obviously not marrying any like exact ideas, but we're gonna, like I said, we're just gonna have to wait and see. So we'll have to see what happens. This was basically the last straw on Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now does have a flip zone going on situation, and we talked about it right this morning. We talked about how I even asked you guys, I got you guys involved. I said, why am I not really so interested in shorting despite this break? If you guys remember when I said that, okay, go back and watch today's stream. I was like, you know, why would I not look for a lower high, lower low? And the very simple answer is that we have a flip zone here, and we have this liquidity that you would be fighting in the event that you did want to short there. Okay, so that obviously ended up being the big move. Again, it was mad chop today. So, you know, if you saw that SFP, cool. You know, whatever. I wasn't really paying attention to Bitcoin, but amongst the mad chop and the news and the Jay Powell and all that shit, you know, we extrapolated that this could have happened, and it very well could have. They opted not to go for it right now, but that's why I didn't want to short it, you know, just because you're fighting liquidity. And you guys know me, man. Like I hyper obsess over liquidity. I will miss a trade because of liquidity. Like you guys know, I didn't long Bitcoin at 74K despite us having a level there because of the equal lows. And then that resulted in me missing like an $8,000 move, which is completely fine because we'll get, as we saw on Cardano, a higher risk to reward trade later. So I have no problem with that, okay? So all that context and whatever aside, this should be a smooth move down, to be honest. It shouldn't have to come back very far, but in the event that it does, I would flip around and look for my order blocks, okay? For example, if USDT dominance does come back up to 4.73, 4.77 or whatever, we have a nice 4-hour block here, I would be extrapolating that continuation. Something that you need to note as well is that if we're pulling your structure from the high to the low, which we absolutely are in this case, because you have these semi-equal highs, what happens after you get a break of structure? Your expectation is lower high, lower low. Do I think we're going to get a deep retracement? Personally, I don't. I don't think we're going to. We could, but I don't think so. I think we're more likely just going to continue down from here. But in the event that we do, we need to understand that it could do this, or it could even SFP these highs and do that. Do I think it's going to SFP the highs? No, I don't. But we have to at least be prepared for all scenarios. So that's the update on USDT. Okay, so USDT, to me, it's going down to 4.55 now, and I'm not going to let anything else get in the way of it. I'm not going to fight it. Maybe not 4.55. How about this? We're going to do this because I just saw this 6-hour block right here, okay, or 8-hour block. So 4.57. For me, alert. Look, check it. Alert is going here. I'm not touching shit because I know that that's a thing. We also, by the way, have a flip zone going on right now. Okay, so let's widen this a little bit. Okay, let's widen it up a little bit. We have a flip zone situation going on right now where this is going to be green, and this is a huge supply zone. Huge supply zone. So we'll keep it like this. Okay, right? Anywhere in here, if you get any retracement and any structure flip, like let's say, I don't know, 2 to 3 minute flip. If that happens on USDT dominance, that's a full send long on the entire market, assuming that we even get that pullback. Like I said, I kind of don't think that we're going to. But, you know, I am not a fortune teller. I am not a magician. I don't know for certain what's going to happen. I can only make high probability assumptions and trade based off of those. And that's what I'm doing to maintain my current Cardano position, which once again, I am gigalong on Cardano at the moment. And that is the only position that I'm in. The last thing I want to talk about, because I'm heavily invested right now, and not invested, but I'm heavily traded on Cardano at the moment. The last thing that we need to talk about is ADA BTC, okay? ADA BTC. Now, this morning, this is the breaker block that we found on ADA BTC, okay? ADA BTC, you can see very clearly you have all that you can come for. Now, this is a little bit of cause for concern, but we're a little bit away from that cause for concern. The reason I'm saying it's cause for concern is because this already swept liquidity, okay? But obviously you have all of this that you can come for, and we know that after you get a big, you know, sell to buy, we're looking for potentially the higher low to then make the higher high. So we're looking for ADA BTC to give you some form of pump in the event that USDT dominance does end up plummeting, Bitcoin goes sideways and Bitcoin dominance rolls over as well, that is exactly the moment you're going to see ADA BTC pop off, okay? If we pull up Market Cipher, you can see that over time, I mean, it's not the cleanest thing. Maybe if we jump around on different time frames, basically every time frame that we're on ADA BTC, I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't look great, not at all, but every time is somewhat oversold. Cardano's probably, and I'm telling you guys this from right now, it's probably not the best thing to be in right now, okay? I'm not saying it's a bad coin to be in, but I'm saying it's probably not the best coin to be in, right? Perhaps Solana might be better. Maybe Dogecoin is better than that. I don't know. I don't like the way, I don't like the way these other things are looking, but I am more paying attention to Cardano because that's the one that I happen to select, okay? Sometimes we pick the good ones, sometimes we pick the mediocre ones, and in the case of Atom, sometimes we pick the shittiest ones ever, and that just is the game, right? We try our best, we do our best, but it is what it is. So I don't know if ADA is going to be the best one, but it should be a good one. You know, we have 3-hour, 4-hour bull divs while we came into, no different than ADA USDT, while we came into a high interest point or a high point of interest, okay? A high probability zone, and pretty much the last zone until you come down substantially lower. So it's like it was on the USDT pair, it's basically now or never. Like it was on the USDT high, it's basically like here, it's basically now or never. Like it's either that or we go up to 4 point whatever, potentially even 5%. And, you know, just judging by the way Bitcoin has been reacting, we also debunked this morning this idea of the PO3 that we had initially drawn out a couple weeks ago. Before this even happened, we drew this out. If this is a PO3, why is it not PO3ing? You know, why are we not wrecking the bulls right now? And that's a little bit, you know, you got to raise an eyebrow when you see something like that. So it's just building the narrative. It's just building the context. ADA BTC is looking not bad. If we do start getting a pump on ADA, and like I said, Bitcoin goes sideways, then ADA BTC should follow suit. This is where you get those big moves. If you guys remember back with the Ethereum move, we were watching this perfectly. Okay. And look at what Ethereum did. You know, oftentimes, as we know in the bull run, these coins don't give you the opportunity to get in. And look at what happened with ETH BTC. I would not be surprised at all if we see something very similar with ADA BTC, especially because remember how I've been talking about it. ADA, guys, I know I've been too focused on it. I know, okay, I know. Maybe I'm married to it. Maybe I'm wrong. But until I'm wrong, I'm not. And ADA's a sleeping giant, okay? No different than when XRP popped off and I told you guys pay attention to XRP, and everybody, especially Kenny, shouts out to Kenny, was like, XRP's a shit coin and it's a stable coin, da-da-da. Yeah, look at what happened, okay? No different. ADA does the same shit, okay? The same thing that I told you guys over here when it popped off in March and it went up 80% in one day. Yes, ADA's a sleeping giant. Don't sleep on it, okay? Now, the last thing that I want to go over, I have no idea how long this update is, but we'll see how she pops off, okay? The last thing that we got to go over is I'm going to wait 10 seconds. Answer right now what I'm about to show you. It's on the screen. You guys should know this. This is so easy. Do. All right. Did you answer? If you answered PO3, which I just talked about too, there's no excuse for you to not have answered PO3. But we also have a potential PO3 going on right now on Cardonsky. Now, am I saying that this is a PO3? If that it's going to happen 100% certain with 100% certainty? No, you guys know by now that there's no such thing as 100% certain, okay? But is this a possibility? Would I be surprised if it happens? Absolutely not. Okay, remember, these are the moments where things pop off, and these are the moments where it's like, what the hell just happened? Well, you know what? The Nexus knows what the hell just happened. We're talking about it. We're explaining it in real time in a way that makes sense. Okay, and then we're utilizing our indicators to kind of support our overall narrative, which makes sense. But we're building the story without the indicators. None of these dots, you know, with respect to Market Cipher, is going to tell you the story that I'm telling you right now. That's printing in the charts, okay? So that's why I've been very aggressively paying attention to Cardano as of late. There are, I'm sure, many coins. You know, if Cardano pops off, many of the coins are going to pump too. You know, look, you're already seeing it. So that's my update on the market right now. I will follow along you know, I do want to get into a Bitcoin position because, as I mentioned, this could be a new, like this could be your structure to make a new all-time high. It very well could be. Okay, that's something that we talked about this morning. So I do want to get into that. I'm very much so into Cardano, but what I will say, look at this, man. Oh my goodness. Can we just talk about this for a second? Like yesterday, obviously it went a little bit deeper than I thought, but look at what we drew out yesterday on Solana. Let's get rid of the second one because obviously it could happen it could be one or the other. We don't know, and we're never going to know with definition. But if you were paying attention to Solana in my updates, and I told you guys this morning that all my levels are still the same. It's still the same ideas. Look at how it happened exactly the way that I drew it. Not exactly. It didn't hit the high like I thought it would, which we're coming to now. And it went a little bit lower than I thought. So if I actually took this drawing right here and I just moved it down a little bit and I move it down, you're almost exact, right? So nonetheless, the idea is the same. The picture is the same. The drawing is the same. And I suspect that many of the coins are going to do the same thing, and they're looking the same because many of the coins hit high time frame levels and very important levels. Many of the coins left liquidity like this. Look at that. Look at Solana. How easy is it for them to come for Solana? It's very easy for them to come to it. So no different than why I didn't want to short Bitcoin, because number one, you're at the low of the range, but number two, you have this liquidity that you would be fighting. Why would you be looking to short? I mean, unless you're scalping, I'm not saying don't short, but why would you be looking to short, for example, Solana? You wouldn't. You're at the lows, guys. Alts have been getting absolutely obliterated, which is why I've been, you know, I want to long alts and I want to not necessarily short Bitcoin, but that's why I said that I'm not interested in, or I want Bitcoin to hold. It's not because I want Bitcoin to hold, it's because I want to long the alts, right? So that same idea is something that we need to be paying attention to, right? For example, if and when, and it looks like it's going to happen right now, look at how clear of a day of a Model 2 accumulation that is, right? So if you're lucky enough to get a pullback, you know, that's something that you can absolutely exploit, and that's something that I encourage the Nexus to have eyes on, not just Solana, not just Cardano, but Dogecoin, XRP, XLM, Ethereum, you know, SUI, right? It's the same picture. The whole market moves in tandem, and I think that that's something that's notable. So go and look for your PO3s. Okay, look for the PO3s. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to post them when I see them. Just because I'm in a long right now doesn't mean that I don't want to not be in another one or any other position for that matter. I'm going to look for them if I find them. I will share them, but this is the overall picture, in my opinion, across the board, at the very least, until USDT dominance tells me something otherwise. And like I said, I don't even think we're going to get a pullback. I'm not going to make this video longer than it needs to be. I'm going to upload it already. It's already very long because I need to get the information out before the move already happens. But in my opinion, there's absolutely no shorts to be had until, at the very minimum, 4.58% is hit. I actually am thinking that it'll go to 4.55. It won't even stop at 4.58, but we have to be aware of the possibility. And then from there, I do actually think that we are going to make our way down to 4.44. Okay, so we'll have to see. Perhaps the path will look like this. Boop, 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 and then boom, you know, redistribution here. And then continuing down, but again, we'll have to wait and see. Okay, that's my update on the whole market right now. I'm going to post this on YouTube so you guys can get this information as quick as possible and watch it at 2x speed. I am long and strong on Cardano. I've been long and strong, and I'm not touching it. Okay, I fucked up the Ethereum one. I got super chopped up today. I'm not going to lie. Like, I got chopped this morning, and then I got back in, and I'm like, you know what? I'm holding it, whatever. I trust my TA. I know what I'm doing. I know that I know what I'm doing. The part that I'm not good at is the patience, because that's where they fuck with your mental, you know? They make you think things. They make you doubt yourself, but I know that I know my shit, okay? Anyways, was that enough? Was that good enough? Hit the like button, man.